Woo! Already the college football season started, and we started off with a bang today. Florida State felt the bang today. I got a little stung by those Yellow Jackets from those pesky little Yellow Jackets from Atlanta, Georgia. As right out the gate, college football season's off to a crazy start. I told numerous people, a lot of my friends on here, that I thought this college football season was going to be something to behold. It's going to be a historical year. You got new eras beginning from new coaches and a lot of big time programs, as well as possibly you got the 12-team playoff. That's going to be something in itself because you get actually, I think it's the 8th seed through the, I think it's 8 through, what is it? The 8th seed through the 11th seed or 12th seed or something like that. No, it's 5 through 8. I think it's 5 through 8 that gets a home game on campus this year. But college football's already got off to a crazy-ass start tonight. We're going to talk about those Florida State CryinNoles, as I like to call them now. I also like to call them the Fake Indians. They got beat. Texas is crying because the horns down has been made legal, as well as the whole Michael Fusasi situation that ended up blowing up into something much bigger than I thought it would. It even got my former podcast partner Jonathan Lewis pissed off. But and Oklahoma smiled, of course, because they've been out recruiting Texas. I even got a video that was sent to me by Harvey Johnson, and Courtney Taylor's also sent me a few things too. Those guys and gals have both helped me out tremendously and sending me links and helping me get ideas for the show. But I got a link to Orange Bloods, basically on there, wondering what the hell's going on and why isn't Texas recruiting better? And then Alabama's NIL program that they had was not really their program. It's a collective of sorts. The Walk of Champions was basically had to shut down because the IRS told them that they couldn't declare players as charities. So lots of stuff to talk about tonight. Didn't expect those CryinNoles to come out and shit the bed this early. I figured they would probably eventually lose their bowels at some point during the season, but not this early. But, hey, they did. So let's get right to it here. We got some people up in here already. Benjamin Sisko's in the house. Good evening, says Benjamin. Killer Breeze is in the house as well. Really? Florida State, the Yellow Jackets? Really? Yeah, really. Because all I heard was, oh, shit. Damn. Like I said in my short video I done today, whoa. Damn, man. Seriously, y'all got beat by Georgia Tech, a team that was 7-6 last year. Looks like they're coming around with Brent Key. Looks like he's doing a good job. But y'all seriously, y'all got passports and expensive ass plane tickets. And y'all flew all the way to Ireland, and y'all couldn't even beat Georgia Tech. Y'all flew that far to get your ass whooped and get embarrassed once again by a Georgia team. They lost last year to Georgia pretty damn bad. It was the worst bowl loss in the history of college football. And now they start the year losing to Georgia Tech. So the state of Georgia hasn't been really kind to Florida State. Matter of fact, I got something here. Maybe we should do a song for Florida State. Since they like to cry so much, maybe a good old crying song. This right here is called the Crying Accordion. It's for teams that cry a lot, or someone that's crying in general, like, con time Deion Sanders, who likes to cry about reporters are picking on me. I'm going to ban that Denver Post guy. But yeah, look, what y'all think? Y'all think we should make a little songy song for those Florida State fake Indians out there? Because I hear that the reservation in Tallahassee is not too happy right now. You got some fake Indians and some squaws down there just crying in those teepees. Let's try it out. Oh. You see how bad? Look at that. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, whoa. See how bad that is? See how bad that sounds, Florida State? That's what y'all sound like, man. Y'all sound like me playing a shitty-ass accordion live on Facebook. That's what y'all sound like, man. And so from now on, when y'all start crying, anybody starts crying, I'm going to get the accordion out, and I'm just going to create them a damn song, a crying accordion song for all the crybabies and the wet diapers out there in college freaking football. Killer Breeze says, I thought FSU got robbed. Norvell must be embarrassed like a MFer. Yeah, I guess they got robbed again, man. This time the Shillelagh and the Leprechauns, I guess the luck of the Irish was with Georgia Tech today. Right guy, 1218's in the house. He says, didn't they steal the Braves tomahawk chop? You know, I would like to say they did, right guy, just to, mess with them and aggravate them a little bit. But I think actually Florida State stole it from them. See, Florida State would get theme songs from their players' colleges, and Con-Time Deion Sanders, who was playing for the Braves, played for Florida State. And so they started playing the Tomahawk Chop war chant that Florida State has been doing way before the Braves did. And so that's how it came about. People think the Braves created it, but they didn't. It was Florida State. Now, I like to aggravate Florida State, but they actually are the ones that invented the war chant. That it's pretty epic. I used to like it, man. I thought it was quite intimidating in the 1990s. But since then, man, they've become just a bunch of squaws and teepees, man, wetting their little panties about every little thing. Is that your theme music? I hope not. What is the neckbeard upset about? Well, man, me and him had a little spat. We sort of let it, just bygones be bygones. We just have come to the conclusion that we probably don't need to work together, and lots of friends can't work together. So that's the way that's going to happen. That's the way that's going to be handled from here forth. He might end up coming back on here and being a guest on the show, but as far as doing podcasts together, it's probably not a good idea because we don't agree on a lot of certain things, a little philosophical differences. Who else is up in here? We got Senator Ross in the house. The Outlaw Polka Hour. The polka, the Seminole Hour. The Seminole Polka Hour, Senator Ross. Let's see what we got here. I am Sooners in the house. Hello to the Outlaw, the Crimson Brother, and the Posse. Y'all hit the like button. Just like I am Sooners said, please jump out, hit the like button, and push the algorithm more. Get more people up in here. Get more badges up in here. Because we got Killer Breeze up in here. He's got his badge. You just missed it, Big Cojones Kelly. You missed me having an accordion, my new musical talent, the crying accordion, Big Cojones Kelly. That 59-yard field goal was impressive, though. 59-yard field goal for whom? That was if you're talking about the Florida State game today, that was a 44-yard field goal. Just so you know. Now, he might have made one earlier in the game that I'm not privy to. Maybe the Florida State guy hit a 59-yard field goal. I just watched the last 2 minutes of the ball game. Our guy 1218 says he remembers when the Ducks beat the shit out of Jameis Winston and Jimbo in the playoffs. And I was like, thank God. And then Alabama got beat. Because I was like, man, we could finally match up with Oregon. Alabama and Oregon have never played. As long as these two programs have been around. And with the emergence of Oregon starting in the early 90s with Rich Brooks. By the way, Rich Brooks doesn't get enough credit for turning Oregon football around. Back in the 1980s, when I first started watching football, Oregon and Oregon State were just like Kansas and Kansas State. They were going 2-10 every year, maybe 3-9, maybe 4-7 if they were lucky. But Rich Brooks came along and started taking you out of bowl games, which was unheard of for Oregon. And then it progressed into what it progressed into, from Mike Bellotti to Chip Kelly and all those guys. what was the other guy's name? I can't remember his name. Anyway, I'm missing somebody in that mix. It was Mike Bellotti and somebody else. Can't remember. Who you got Thursday? Will North Dakota State have a chance? Woo! Speaking of con time, he's been losing his bowels a lot here lately, man. And there's even a little link I got here that I'm going to pull up for y'all in just a second. It basically touches on the fact that con time and the Colorado staff during the offseason, I think it was last year, went to Saudi Arabia to get some NIL money. Now, I told my buddy Kuz that, it wouldn't surprise me if the Arabs got involved in all this because they got their own golf tournament now called Live or Live or something. And they're really involved in WWE. They got a lot of good WWE pay-per-view events that now go to Saudi Arabia. So it would not surprise me if the Arabs got involved in college football because it's a big money maker. Zach Hammer's in the house with his badge. Says, hey, Outlaw. Killer Breeze says he's not upset about Fusasi. Completely wrong. Yeah, them Orange Bloods, man. Now, I'm gonna pull his thing up here in a minute. Now, I know the Orange Blood podcast got mad at Ona Cano and reported him for doing that shit. Now, I don't care if he reports me or not. If he reports me, he's going to wish he hadn't. Because I'm going to bring up the boogeyman. He's going to find out. Chip Kelly? No. He was Haflick. Was it Heflick? It started with an H. H-E-F something. Was Mike Bellotti, Haflin, somebody. Was that the guy after Chip Kelly? You missed my Seminoles getting their kits pulled up on the comment. That Outlaw. Well, I did better do a song earlier, Big Honest Kelly, about them. I mean, because that war chant wouldn't sound too good after the end of the game, man. It was just, just like this accordion right here. I can't even get the damn thing played. Oh, snap. Damn. It's pretty bad, man. When you travel all the way to Ireland and get your ass whooped. I just can't get over that, man. You had to get passports and get hotels and drive on the freaking left side of the road. I wonder how many wrecks was over there. Yeah, all them damn crazy-ass fake Indians over there driving around in the Rambling Wreck. Did they take the Rambling Wreck over there? I don't remember seeing it on the sidelines. That would have been a hell of a trip for the Rambling Wreck. Continues needs money to sell the jewelry his son likes to show off during the games. That's right. Says Sooners fan. Larry Twickie says, what you think of Dylan Raiola starting at Nebraska? Go Big Red. I think it was a real key get for Nebraska in order to turn their program in the direction they need to turn it in order to get back to where they used to be, or at least close to it. Alabama had a similar class when Nick Saban first got here. You got Julio Jones and Mark Ingram in the same class, and that sort of turned things around. So a couple of good recruits can absolutely turn the program around and the thinking around it. If other players see a five-star like Dylan Raiola go into Nebraska, well, then they'll probably think about going to Nebraska at that point. But I'm going to bring something up for y'all real quick. Go ahead and share some stuff for y'all. It's oh, by the way, before I get started, let me cancel that out. Did y'all hear about the news today? Well, it might have been yesterday, but the SEC has ruled that there will, in fact, be horns down this year. There will not be a penalty for this unless you go up in their face and, you just like up in their face and try to jab them in the eyes with the horns down. If you get up in their face directly and taunt them with the horns down, then you're going to get a penalty. It don't matter if it's horns down or what. If anything, any gesture. I mean, you could just be doing the whole up you. But if you get in someone's face directly, they're going to call a penalty. But that's everything. But Texas wanted the horns down penalty to be in place for specifically the horns down. If any players done it on the field at any point, whether it was on the sidelines or not, they want it to be a penalty. And they interviewed Quinn Ewers about it. As a matter of fact, I can pull that up for y'all. There it is. All right. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers discusses horns down taunt now being legal to fuel his fire. Last month, SEC coordinator of officials John McDade ruled that infamous horns down taunt against Texas will not bring a penalty. Not. The celebration is directed at the Longhorns, players across all sports, but mostly football. But a new conference for the Longhorns means new rules, and they better get used to it. However, it sounds like star quarterback Quinn Ewers already is used to it. It really doesn't affect us, honestly. Then why do y'all bitch about it? Why do y'all complain about it? You may not have specifically, but your coaching staff, especially the previous coaching staff that y'all had there at Texas, they made a big deal out of it, man. And I think Sarkisian and them don't like it either. It says here, Ewers did admit the taunt makes us a little bit salty. You think? A little more than a little bit salty, man. Y'all need to have y'all some Depends or something on you underneath the damn football uniform before you crap yourself, man. Because I don't understand why y'all get so mad about this shit. If y'all didn't get so mad about it, people wouldn't do it. But he seemed to hint that it's a bigger deal for the taunter than the tauntee. Well, no shit. If people want to do it and it's a big deal where they want to do it, then I don't have a problem with them allowing them to do it. You're not allowing shit, boy. You ain't allowing anything. What do you think you're allowing, man? You ain't allowing nothing. The SEC just told you what was going to happen and the way it was going to be. They're allowing you to be in the SEC. Why wouldn't people want to? It says, why wouldn't people want to try to get under people's skin, especially in the game we play? It's a violent game, blah, blah, blah. No shit. Mr. Captain Obvious over here. Ewers grew up in South Lake, Texas, just outside Dallas as a Longhorns fan, says that not even when he was at Ohio State, the horns down signal, which he couldn't bring himself to do. And he's playing for Ohio State. I grew up a Longhorn fan. I would never do it. I could never do it. That was a signal at Ohio State that I never did. And that's why you're not there no more, because you sucked up there. McDade said the signal would be allowed because it wouldn't offend the general public. There you go. The act itself needs to be offending to the senses, he said, to the Austin American Statesman. I don't know how you can say American in anything in Austin. If you look at the act out of the football stadium, did it in a shopping mall or grocery store, would it offend the senses to a majority of reasonable people in the area? No. So that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen for y'all. Sorry, Longhorn fans, but your Big 12 days of crying and getting your way and trying to dominate folks and poison conferences, those days are over, man. You lucky you're in this conference. You lucky that we wanted you with Oklahoma. Well, from what I hear, I think Oklahoma actually went to bat for y'all. And so, yeah, y'all better get used to it real quick because it's coming real quick. I'm not sure when Texas's first game is in the SEC, but whomever it is, they're going to be doing the horns down, even if it's in Nashville at Vanderbilt. Y'all might catch a break at Vanderbilt because sometimes they don't get into games like they should, but yeah. Where are the Georgia Tech fans? Well, I don't know, brother. I don't know where they at. Shit. We'll bring something else up for y'all. If anybody wants to be in the show, come on the show and talk, just let me know, and I'll send you an invite. If you want to come on live tonight and hang out and be one of the common Joes and common sizes in the know, even more so than all the media talking heads, then come on down. But before we get to all that, today I got something from Eric Mofield of Mofield's Woodsmith Shop. His wife also sent me some stuff, but I haven't got my package together for her yet. She got me some jewelry for my wife. Y'all want to gift for your wife? I'm gonna put some clips up for her and some commercials and whatnot. But see that? That's what Eric Mofield sent me today. One of those great cutting boards he always sends. Never any lasers. No lasers ever used. All handcrafted by Eric Mofield of Moe's Woodsmith Shop. Also on the back side here, there's me and my wife. Done me and my wife on the back side of the board says Jesse and Kathy. His information is in the bottom scroll down here. Scrolling across there, you'll see his information. If you want to order one of those great cutting boards from Eric. Also, right up here, as you can see, we got the powder coated signage from Matt McWilliams at McFab LLC, which is also in the scroll down there if you want to order something from him as well. So, there we go. Paid some bills. Now, let's see what we got going on in the comments section real quick. Lance Flores says, I can't count the times I'm listening to you spit facts. It cracks me up loud laughing. Woo! I'm glad. That's what I like about this show that I'm doing, man. I try not to smack talk too damn much because I want, to just be a clown. But at the same time, I want to bring facts with knowledge and comedy intertwined. That way, we all feel like we're just a bunch of common Joes and common Sallies at the local bar talking that smack and knowing what we're talking about. That's the thing. This ain't just, us not knowing. Like I said, the common Joes usually know more than all the media talking heads. The media talking heads get their information from the common Joes. Horns down started by Oklahoma. Did it in the Red River rivalry. Everyone else caught on to it when the Shorthorns started crying in the Big 12. Damn, man. It's just a hand signal, man. It'd be different if you was flipping them off. I could understand if you was shitting on the bird or something. Damn. That offends the senses. Like the SEC head of officials, what's his name? John McDade. All right, let's bring up a little something else for y'all real quick. Anybody want to be on the show? Anybody want to be on the show? Let me know, and send me your email in here, and I'll send you an invite to the show. Share screen. Man, I love this share screen shit. What we got here? Oh, yeah. I'm going to touch on this real quick. It's the Alabama stuff that I had for y'all. There we have it. The boosters start a nonprofit to pay Alabama athletes millions. Now it's shutting down. It started with a $100,000 check in the spring of 2023 with John Parker Wilson. Had a request from the Internal Revenue Service grant U.S. nonprofit status March 31st. And Walk of Champions will lose the money. If you scroll on down here, now, less than 2 years later, the organization is shutting down. And a statement on behalf of Walk of Champions, which is a collective of Alabama, that they're going to have to shut down because the group said it decided to dissolve after the IRS issued a warning last year about NIL collectives. In a memo, the agency said collectives predominantly focused on serving the private interest of student athletes. They don't qualify as nonprofits because the athletes essentially don't count as charity. Student athletes are not themselves a recognized charitable class. Reads the memo from the chief counsel of the IRS. So, yeah, leave it to the IRS to come in and, screw shit up like they always do. Meanwhile, private collectives like Yay Alabama and Alabama form across the country to act as a go-between with student athletes and donors and businesses to facilitate name, image, likeness, and deals. So did On Victory at Auburn. Scroll on down here. When it formed in 2023, the Walk of Champions told the IRS that it would serve charitable and educational purposes. And the organization said it planned to fundraise millions of dollars to student athletes, but they don't see it as that. I'm not going to read all this because it's way, 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 way too long. But anyway, yeah, that's they're not going to be able to get away with that. College is not. It said also in the article that Texas, Ohio State, who else was it? Maybe Florida State, and a few other universities were using the same process and the same idea of making student athletes a nonprofit charity in order to get money to them. And so everybody's going to have to shut their shit down now. Not just Alabama. There's about 4 or 5 other schools, like I said, including Texas and Florida and Florida State and Ohio State. We're going to have to shut down their NIL collectives and start over and try to do it a different way. They don't have to just shut them down completely, but they're going to have to come up with a better way to do it, or the IRS will come after them. What do y'all think about that? Go Hornets! Georgia Tech alum. Finally, we got a Georgia Tech guy up in here. You missed the song earlier we done for Florida State. So go back when this thing goes to when this live stream goes to a podcast. Go Hornets! Go back and watch it. I believe you'll like it. I also done a short 1-minute video making fun of Florida State, which I like to call the CryinNoles and the Fake Indians. Basically, dedicate a little song to them and all that good stuff. Try to raise their spirits down there at the reservation and the teepees in Tallahassee. Not really. Not really. I actually piled on. I ain't gonna lie. But Go Hornets, Georgia Tech alum says, if we ever beat UGA, then that will be our Super Bowl. But I can only hope. You might. Brent Key's looking like he's doing a really good job. He took Georgia to 7-6 last year. I think y'all went to a bowl too, right? And it's sort of reminisce of Saban's first year at Alabama. Saban at Alabama, his first year, people fail to realize this. We went 7-6 under Nick Saban his first year, and Brent Key is a Nick Saban disciple. So maybe y'all got the Nick Saban. Who knows? Kilbree says, hey, man, they beat FSU in heartbreaking fashion. They are good by me. Damn right, man. The more those Seminoles, those CryinNoles cry, the better. The better. Fake Indians. All right. What else we got here? Thing is, when the Oklahoma Sooners started the horns down hand sign, the other hand was definitely shooting them the bird. Tuck, Texas, says Steve Lees. Yeah, y'all did start it. That's for damn sure. But everybody knows about it now because you know why? It ain't because of Oklahoma doing it. It's because Texas made such a big stink about it, Steve. If they just not make a big ass stink about it and act like it's not a big deal, it wouldn't be a problem. People call Alabama people Bammers. They don't aggravate me. I mean, it's just a nickname. It's just a little smack talk, man. But if you act like it bothers you, they will absolutely start pressing the hell out of that button. That's what's going to happen. When they get over in the SEC and they realize that shit bothers them, everybody's going to be doing it. The Big 12, everybody started doing it in the Big 12. So, this shit's going to happen in the SEC too. So, they might as well get ready for it and get used to it. And what would this show be without? Let's go up here for a second. This is the whole thing with Orange Bloods where they were crying and wetting their diaper over there. They try and act like it's not that big of a deal, but it's absolutely a big deal. Here we go. See what these guys have to say.
This is before we were even thinking about a Jonah Williams kind of consolation prize, because that's what that ends up being, like some sort of mega prize. And so we're in this Fasusi conversation, and I started off by asking Catch very simplistically, and you have to define getting beat or out recruited.
Now, Steve Lees, you like to give me hell about how I pronounce shit and how I talk. This dude right here, man, he sounds like he's about to have an epileptic seizure on the air.
But my question was it started off with, is Texas getting out recruited?
Yes.
Because for me, Catch, even if teams are spending more money, well, technically you're getting out recruited, right? I mean, in a form of it, you're losing the battles that you want to win. And I'm a little dumbfounded that we're at a point, and I see Jay Lee with the super chat, that we're going into another huge battle just a few weeks after the Decorian Moore loss, talking about another loss, but maybe they can make up for it later. It seems like there's a can that's getting kicked down the road, and it's hard to understand why this can is getting kicked down the road.
Well, and I answered this question earlier. Are they getting out recruited?
With the YouTube Music app, you can blend up to 30 artists into one.
Damn commercial, come on. But anyway, that guy went on to say that basically Texas has been out recruited. Let me see if I can bring it back up because I actually want you to hear what that big bald-headed goof says. I think his name is Ketch. Is that his name? He looks like a bald-headed, short midget version of Butterbean, if y'all know who that is. Let's get back to that point. Let me find it for y'all real quick. I actually want y'all to hear that.
Even if teams are spending more money, well, technically you're getting out recruited, right? I mean,
he's likely, I think, going to end up at Texas. That's certainly the suspicion at this point. You've got Ty Haywood at 6 going to Alabama. You've got Khalik Lockett going to Texas at 7. You got Keody Armstrong going to A&M at 8. You've got Riley Pettyjohn going to Ohio State. I've got him at 9. Dorian Bruce going to Oregon. Lamont Rogers is going to Missouri. The thing about that is, other than the 2 kids going to Oregon, Dorian Brew and Decorian Moore, nobody in the state of Texas has signed more than one prospect, or committed, I should say, other than Texas. I've got Texas with 2 kids inside the state top 10 before Jonah Williams announces. So is Texas getting out recruited? Yes. I think from a much larger scope, because they're not hitting the number 1 player in the state. They're not hitting the number 2 player in the state. They're not hitting the number 3.
I'll stop him right there. Stop him right there. You see what he done there? Well, technically, Texas has got more players in the top 10 in the state of Texas than any other team. So technically, they're not being out recruited by one team. Nobody's got more than 2 inside the top 10. We got 2. Dude, you're the flagship university of that state, you idiot. You're supposed to have much more than 2 out of the top 10. You act like you're proud of that or something. Well, technically, as a whole, as a collective, the United States, everybody's out recruiting us. It's taking everybody to do it. Give me a break, dude. You can't tell me that you're okay with only getting 2 of the top 10. And you even was rattling on, y'all not even getting the best of the top 10. 1 not going to Texas. Number 2 not going to Texas. Number 3 not going to Texas. It sounds like a Bad Disturbed song. Let the bodies hit the floor. 1, what you gonna do? 2, what you gonna do? 3, what you gonna do? 4, what you gonna do? You ain't gonna do shit, man. Because you only got 2 out of your own state, man, in the top 10. And you act like, oh, that's no problem. We got more than anybody else. Yeah, but it's your state, dumbass. So wouldn't you think you would have more than 2? At least maybe 3 or 4 in the top 10? And you can't even get 1 of the top 4 out of the top 10? That dude lost his crap when OU beat them last year, says OU. Didn't beat them, but Texas beat Texas. Yeah. Yeah. And you saw that tweet by Steve Sarkisian that everybody's trying to say now that it was a fake tweet, but it sure is funny how that shit got removed. Boom, like that. The blue check mark was there. The timestamp was there. Everything that makes it look legit was there. So I'm thinking it probably was something that Steve said in a moment and then decided that, hey, I better delete that. Or somebody in the sports information department got with Sark and said, hey, man, I know you're a little liquored up today because you got divorced. But you need to take that damn tweet down, or things gonna get a lot worse than just a divorce. You don't get divorced from your damn job, brother, like you did out at USC. If you keep making asinine posts like that about Oklahoma's not going to get lucky this year. They're not going to get 5 turnovers. We're going to put 56 on them, and if they put the horns down in our face, we're going to hang 70 on them. That's what that tweet said. But hold on for a second. Share screen. No. I'm going to go ahead and invite somebody in here for y'all. See if we can get some people up in here. Damn it. What do y'all think about all that? I mean, is that dude, that's the same dude that reported on the Cano, right? I think that's how you pronounce that shit. He's an Oklahoma guy that I actually did a video about Orange Bloods reporting him. They can report me all they want. They're going to wish they hadn't, though. Because I'll come after them for real. I'm not just going to roll over and whine about it like on the Cano did. I'm gonna do something about it. That's what I'm gonna do. All right. Invite some people in here. Try to get another voice in here and see what y'all think about all that. But so far, that's what we've talked about. Florida State, the CryinNoles, the Fake Indians get upset once again by Georgia Tech. Texas is crying about the horns down being legal in the SEC today. So yeah, at first I thought they were going to roll over for Texas. I'll be honest with you. I thought they were going to acquiesce to Texas because the rumor had it that they were going to make it a penalty. But the lead official today for the SEC said that's not happening. So we ain't have to worry about that. And then of course Oklahoma smiling is all about them basically taking Fasusi away from them. This guy from Orange Bloods just well, technically we got out recruited. There ain't no technically to it, man. This ain't a subject that you can say technically to. You either got out recruited or you didn't, and you did. You got 2 players out of the state of Texas and the top 10, and didn't even give one of the top 4. Golly, man. These Texas people, man, they just I know some good Texas people out there. A buddy of mine, Michael Parks, one of the best guys you'll ever meet. But some of these Texas people are a huge embarrassment for all of college football and how they basically just make excuses. But I went ahead and invited some people up in here, Killer Breeze, Kuz, and Johnny Johns. One of those 3 may come up in here. John Christophick's in the house. I think John Christophick's a Mountaineer. You a Mountaineer, Christophick? By the way, if y'all want to get your comment read out, we've got so many people in here right now. Got 63 people in here. If you want to get your comment read out, you want me to answer a question, there's a little money dollar sign at the bottom. You can click on that, write your comment out, then click it again, and it'll push it to the top, and it'll highlight it, and I can read your comment out over everybody else's. John Christophick says Florida State can stay make. Which is it, stay or make? Florida State can make the playoffs if they win the ACC. Well, yeah, no shit. But are they going to win the ACC? They can't even beat Georgia Tech and Ireland, man. They can't even beat Georgia Tech and Ireland. How are they going to win the ACC? Maybe they'll turn around. Like you said, it's just the first game of the year. But they didn't look good for Florida State the last year or so. And they went into the offseason crying and whining about Alabama getting their playoff spot because they looked like shit in the ACC title game against a very middling, probably one of the worst 10 or 11 win teams in the country in Louisville. And the week before that, they barely beat somebody, too, that wasn't very good. Might have been Pittsburgh or Boston College. So they got what they got. And then they went to the Orange Bowl and basically proved that they were a big old farce. And people were like, well, they didn't have a lot of their players. A lot of their players set out. That's why Florida State sucked so bad and they got beat by 60. I don't care. you're a Division I school that's ranked in the top 5, and you don't get beat by 60 in your home state in front of your home people and recruits by 60. I'm just saying that's not a good look, man. Now Georgia had some players sit out too. So I'm just saying to get beat by 60 points in your own home state, that can't do wonders for recruiting. It'd be different if you played that game somewhere like Shreveport, Louisiana, Independence Bowl. But this, not only that, but this was a big-time bowl. An Orange Bowl is considered one of the biggest bowls of all time. And you not only got beat. It'd be different if you got beat 42-14 or 35-7 or something. But this was like a homecoming beatdown. And I think South Dakota State or North Dakota State could have probably hung with Georgia better. What do y'all think? Teresa Moser's in the house. Teresa Moser says, "Oh, Texas just needs their pacifier. That'd be okay." Yeah, they do need a pacifier. You're right about that. They need to suck on something. But don't tell them that because you know how they are. They're probably the southern version of Skittle shitting, man. Austin. What I hear about Austin, it's a big old cesspool of Skittle shitters. Marshall Jenkins is in the house. Marshall Jenkins, my bad. Marshall Jenkins says, "Hey, Outlaw, I enjoy your show. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, Marshall. I ain't seen you in a while, so that's why I went and read your program out there." That program. Must be high tonight. Must have been smoking on that damn Florida State wacky weed. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Hines 5780 says, "If anything, Oklahoma gave away 17 points, blocked a punt, missed a field goal, and dropped a touchdown pass." I'm with you. But according to Steve Sarkisian, y'all got lucky. He said that he's going to make sure that he just gives y'all one of them 49-0 ass whippings this year, is what Stevie Boy said. Steve Sark 316 says, "Yeah, this is going to belong to Texas." And he said it's going to be by 56 points. He said 8 touchdowns. So I'm assuming all the extra points are made. That's 56 points. And if y'all put the horns down on them, so he's going to hang 70 on you. Just saying, I'm just saying, don't kill the messenger. It's just what Stevie Boy said. Thunder U Center's in the house. He's almost got perfect attendance. He's probably the most attendee in here. Thunder U Center says, "Florida State could be the next Nebraska and their own conference." They could be. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be that bad. The ACC's not going to be around much longer anyway, so they ain't going to have to worry about that. The ACC is probably going to get closed down in about 5 years, maybe less. But I'm just playing it safe here. I'd say within 5 years, the ACC won't be around anymore. We'll go from a Power 5 to a Power 4 to a Power 3 because I think the Big 12 is actually going to survive. Now, the Big 12 was the team that was on it was the conference that was on the mat. They lost Texas and Oklahoma. And a bunch of their teams were talking about leaving and going to the Pac-12 or even maybe the Big 10 or the ACC, and they couldn't handle it. The Pac-12 can basically thank actually not the Pac-12, the Big 12, sorry. The Big 12 can actually thank Kevin Warren for psyching up the Pac-12 and making them think that everything was kumbaya because he got them not to do that. The Pac-12 was too snotty to add the Big 12 schools. The Big 12 schools were ready to go to the Pac-12, and they didn't do it because of their snotty-ass attitude, and they thought they had this pristine coalition with Kevin Warren, who stabbed them in the back and took their 2 best teams, and then he let the Big 12 pick the rest of them up, and then he took the last 2 to go ahead and get all that blood on their hands they claim they don't have on their hands. I've talked about that ad nauseum. I'm gonna bring somebody else in here because I know I think y'all probably tired of hearing me run my mouth. Plus, I'm tripping on my tongue. I think something got brain sprain or something. Let's bring an old school guest up in here. It's the man, the myth, the legend, the one they call Killer Breeze.
What's happening, JPC? Let's see how long my crappy internet out here on Lake Conroe will last tonight in the Outlaw Posse.
Yeah, it's been a while. That's for damn sure.
So, man, how many Georgia Tech fans do we still have in the house? We still got Go Hornets, Georgia Tech alum. What a great way to start the college football season out with a stunning upset of Florida State. But is it really that stunning? Is it really?
Yeah, no, man. They've been crying the whole damn year about not getting in the playoffs. Then they don't get in the playoffs and they play in a big bowl game and get beat by a record amount of points. Like I said, I can understand them being a little distraught and getting beat down. But 63-3, man, there's no excuse for that in your home state. In front of all those recruits, that can't be good, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's what I was saying. Norvell's got to be embarrassed. You know, he was talking mad noise about how unfairly they were treated in the playoff last year. And then they go and get embarrassed by Georgia, one of the worst bowl defeats ever. And now you're starting off your redemption season with a loss to the Yellow Jackets. How about that? How about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, who, by the way, Seamus apparently was the only one who picked them on game day. How about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets starting off the 2024 football season by upsetting the mighty Seminoles? Seminoles.
Did you say Seamus?
Yeah.
Who is that a wrestler?
I think it was some leprechaun guy they had on game day or something.
Oh, okay. Because there's a wrestler in WWE named Seamus.
No, I don't think it was him.
I woke up just in time to see it. I'd slept in and I worked late. And I was sleeping in and I woke up and my phone was blowing up. I looked over and people like, Florida State's about to shit the bed. And I'm like, oh, snap. I forgot about that game. I almost forgot about it, man, because it's so early.
Oh,
so
it was?
I got on there and I saw it at the last minute, man. I saw the last 2 minutes. I'm like, I am glad I woke up for this shit.
Yeah, no, I'm much like you. I didn't turn it on until the last couple of minutes. By the way, I'm wrong. It was the wrestler, apparently. Shows you how up to date I am with my Irish wrestling knowledge.
What did the guy look like? Did he have red hair?
I didn't see the beginning of the game like you. I missed it. I saw it on YouTube. I saw somebody posted on YouTube a screenshot of everybody's pick, and of course, everyone on game day, the McAfee and Herb Street, they all picked Florida State except for the wrestler.
Man, I told my son, awesome. I started to go to bravado.com. That's where I do my betting at. And I was going to place money on that game because I didn't think Florida State could beat them by 11. It was an 11-point spread. And Georgia Tech beat them straight up. What about this guy named DJ Ugly Boy? DJ Ugly Boy, once upon a time, was a quarterback at Clemson. Then he went to Oregon State and done pretty good. And he comes back to the ACC and shits the bed again. I think DJ Ugly Boy is a curse upon any ACC team he plays for.
Well, he's got that Dabo stink all over him, and that's never a good thing. That Dabo stink, that used to be some high, that was some high society Drakkar Noir back in the day, but now that's just dog crap on a stick. That's what that Clemson stink is right now.
I don't think it was Dabo now. I think it was just DJ because everything was going fine until DJ started for Clemson. Ever since that happened, it's just been downhill for any ACC team that touches his ass.
Maybe it's both. Maybe it's both.
What do you think about the whole Texas horns down situation? I thought that they were going to acquiesce to him. I thought they were going to let it be a penalty, but they changed their mind and have come out and said that it will not be a penalty.
There's not one single college football fan outside of the Austin city limits, no pun intended. There's not one single college football fan that isn't rejoicing that they finally moved to a conference that won't bow down to their every desire. It's ridiculous having it be a horns down, be a penalty. Once again, like we've talked about several times across several different subjects, it's like, if you guys are so offended by it, here's a notion: quit acting butthurt every time somebody actually does this. Like, it's fucking like, it's not that big of a deal, man. But the more you act like a baby about it, the more people are gonna rattle your chain, and as well they should. You know, I always find it funny the massive degree of sensitivity of the Longhorn fans. They're just so. You know, you're supposed to be from Big Bad Texas. I mean, come on. It's a hand gesture, dude.
Well, I've always wondered if they're okay with this being a penalty, then why isn't this a penalty? That's a hand gesture, and it's instigating shit. If they score a touchdown and they go up to an Alabama player or an Oklahoma player and they do this, you think it's going to make the Alabama and Oklahoma player happy? It's going to instigate some shit.
No, listen. All Oklahoma fans. Well, again, every fan of every other school in the Big 12, nobody was happy about that. So to go to the SEC and have the SEC final, because I can tell you, many Sooner fans, including myself, were taunting that in front of Texas fans going to the SEC to get ready for the fact that the SEC is not going to kiss your ass. So when they were considering making it a penalty, I was pissed, man. The fact that the SEC might actually cave like the Big 12 used to do, and I'm sure the Southwest Conference before them, I mean, it's just ridiculous. They throw their weight around as often as they can, which again makes it that much more ridiculous that they're as mediocre as they are when it comes to the sport of football.
Quinn Ewers, in that article that I forgot to read it, it pisses me off. I lost the article now, but basically Quinn Ewers said that he knows that this is going to make, and he singled y'all out. He didn't talk about anybody else but Oklahoma in that article. I forgot to read it out.
Well,
but he said that I know that this makes Oklahoma people happy. I'm like, it makes everybody happy, man. It don't just make Oklahoma people happy. Oklahoma people are just ones that invented the shit. So, you know, stop being so pissy about it.
I mean, you know, we are happy about it, and it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that he mentioned us, because we've been living in between the ears of Texas fans and the football program for the last 25 years. You know, let's not forget about the fact that that this century started off with 5 in a row against UT with bookend ass whippings of 64-13 and 65-13 in a 5-win straight run, if my memory serves correct. I know it was 5 straight because I went to a couple of them, but they've dominated Texas for the last 25 years, and in general for the last 50 or more, maybe even 70 now actually. But yet the media loves Texas. You know, you guys are going to learn this. That's one thing that is going to follow them to the SEC, is that anytime they give the media any reason to give them any praise, they're going to pour it on, like the media propping up Kamala Harris right now. The fact that there are people picking Texas to win the SEC based on what? Based on what? One good year where they made it to the playoff and lost in the first round to a team that ultimately lost in the championship, and also lost to Big Brother in the regular season. I mean, their history surely shouldn't give you any reason to predict them to do such things. So, you know, and based on the roster that they have coming back, they don't have the same defensive line, man. Devondre Sweat is gone. The other guy, I can't think of his name, is gone. Their secondary is weak.
Didn't they have to go into the portal and get some 2-star running back because they were out of running backs?
They're out of running. Yeah, dude. They're absolutely. Their running back room is screwed. Look, I'm not saying they can't I mean, they're Texas. They have resources. Although if you that Orange Bloods podcast that you referenced sounds like the money has kind of dried up for a little while. I found it funny that he was trying to make excuses about,
He maybe said that shit. He maybe said that. He acted like he was proud of the fact that they had only 2 out of the top 10. He's like, well, technically, we've been out recruited by the collective, but we got more players in the state of Texas than anybody. We got 2 out of 10. I'm like, y'all proud of that shit? And he was getting on to say that we ain't got the number 1, 2, 3, or 4 player. They ain't even got one of the top 4 in the state.
Well,
he's proud of that shit. They're the flagship program of that state.
He's doing an about face again, because keep in mind, this is the same guy that not too long ago when they were in the playoff and this is the same guy that came out trying to say he doesn't even see Oklahoma as a rival anymore. Like, it's just not an important game anymore. This is the same guy that was saying that. It was nonsense then. And now he's butthurt because they've lost out to Oklahoma on they sure as hell were trying to get Dominic Williams, and they were sure as hell trying to get Susie. And once again, the media, nobody gave Oklahoma really a chance to, other than the insiders and people that would look at it honestly, like you. Nobody was giving them a chance on either one of those, and they got beat. And of course, like everyone that gets beat out on a recruitment, next thing you know, the people that got beat out start saying, oh, well, it's just because we decided we weren't going to pay everybody that much money. Well, when you outpaid us for players before this run we've gone on y'all, you were laughing. It was Broklahoma. Oklahoma can't keep up. Oklahoma doesn't have any money. But now all of a sudden it's about, oh, well, we need to be smarter about the money. Give me a break, man. Pull on my what, and it'll play Jingle Bells. I mean, it's nonsense.
Georgia Tech alumni makes a good point. He says, hey, we got the same amount of national titles as Texas does Georgia Tech. And I keep seeing these graphs, too, that talk about blue bloods, and Texas is in there. And I'm like,
they're not a blue blood.
If Texas is a blue blood, LSU is a blue blood. Georgia Tech's a blue blood. Because, there's plenty of teams out there that's got 3 or 4 national titles over a period of 100 years. And Texas has only got 4, right? 3 or 4?
They have 4. They won back to back. If I'm not mistaken, I think they won in like 1967, and then they won. They didn't win it the next year, and then I think in 1969, I think they repeated in 69 and 70, and then they went a full 35 years before they won another one, and they've gone now another 20 years, and they haven't won one either. So they were nothing before 1967, and then they were nothing after 1970 until that little run with Mag Brown, and they've been nothing again. And now, people like you, there's a lot of folks that give Steve Sarkisian a ton of credit, and I'm just like, I don't see why everybody's giving him the credit either. He only had success when he was under Saban. I'm not giving him that credit. That's Saban shit, man. Who wasn't successful under Nick Saban in the offensive coordinator position? So what has Steve Sarkisian done other than one good year when, just by their own admission of Jeff Ketchum at Orange Bloods, they were paying big money to bring players in, which is totally fine, but that's what they were doing. So other than that one year, which, by the way, what did they win again? A Big 12 championship that by everyone else's standard doesn't mean much. I mean, at least that's what everybody said when Oklahoma was winning them left and right. So why are we giving Steve Sarkisian and Texas any credit yet? I want to see consistent performance. And when I see consistent performance, then I'll start giving them credit.
Well, according to Steve, I like to say Sark 316. I'm not saying he's a badass like Stone Cold. It's epic sarcasm just everywhere when I say that. But Sark 316 said in a tweet that they deleted. Now they're trying to act like it don't exist. But that shit happened. That shit happened. I had it. And it had the verification of the little blue check mark and everything.
Oh, yeah, he did.
He came out and said that, y'all got lucky last year, and it did that. He was going to make sure this year that it was one of those 49-0 ass whippings. and he's going to hang 8 touchdowns on y'all. And if y'all throw that horns down sign up, it's going to be 70.
Well, they're not going to stop doing it. They didn't stop doing it when it was illegal. They're not going to stop doing it. Oklahoma does not – dude, Texas has not been a serious threat to Oklahoma almost ever. Well, we're not worried about Texas. We never are, ever. Even when we go into the game 49-0 in our minds, that doesn't even like. What about the fact that we're 17-8 in the last 25? And if I just start going over the last 30, 40, 50, it'll be the same kind of margin. So I'm not giving them credit for shit.
I told people this might happen. Colorado releases a statement on former assistants' efforts to seek NIL funding from Saudi Arabia. I told Chris this might happen, and he said he didn't think it would ever happen in college sports. But the Arabs have been involved in, getting a new professional golf league, and they've had numerous WWE events and UFC events over there in Saudi Arabia. It says here that Trevor Riley sought NIL funds from Saudi Arabia. The university released a statement to the front office trying to distance themselves from Riley's efforts and confirmed he did it on his own volition, which I don't believe. I don't believe he went to freaking Saudi Arabia on a plane because he just decided to. Do they not think we're stupid or something?
No.
It's absolutely a Deion Sanders thing. That's something that Deion Sanders would okay. That's something that Deion Sanders would do because it's flamboyant. That's just something that he would do. And they're making this guy to be the scapegoat.
That's of course that's what's going on. By the way, real quick, not to get off this subject, but how about what's up to Darth Iskanis? I haven't seen that guy in a while. Darth is up in the house, and the bomb left a comment asking what is a blue blood. Let's circle back around to what is a blue blood because I definitely have a standard on that. But I absolutely wanted to talk about Colorado. This is Deion in desperation mode because now the media is starting to crack on him as well. You can't. I mean, the guy is clearly losing control. He's losing it with reporters. They're pressing him now instead of just, kissing his behind. And
now he's barring people from the press conference just because they ask him tough questions. The guy from the Denver Post has been barred. How do you do that, man? I mean, this is just, hey, is Deion a liberal? I mean, because that sounds like some liberal shit.
Well, I don't know that he's a liberal as much as he is a spoiled baby. It's not going his way. His little plan. I mean, it's funny because apparently he just really, the effort that he's put out, man, for recruiting and for coaching is a joke to me. I will admittedly say that I never really paid attention other than what I heard about what he was doing at Jacksonville State. I wasn't really paying attention to what he was doing. If he was putting out the same kind of effort there, it's so unimpressive, man. He doesn't really recruit. He just expects players to just come to him. He thinks he's going to run it out of the transfer portal, and he's not even really doing a great job there either. He's got a couple of big wins, but that's just kids that are starstruck because it's prime time. And he is completely unraveling. And I can't imagine they're going to do well this year. If he makes it through the season, that'll be surprising to me. I wouldn't be surprised if he just quits and walks away because he just thinks he's too good for the scrutiny that he's starting to take after starting off 0-5 or 0-6, which he could easily do. They're underinvested.
Backtracking a little bit to the bomb, like you were saying, what would constitute blue blood for you?
Well, first of all, you have to display winning at a championship level across multiple decades and with multiple coaches. If you don't have, let's start there. So you have to have.
It sounds like 2 teams I know, man.
Well, there's a couple of them that make that.
Two Crimson Nations.
And obviously history will play a big part in it too. Yes, the 2 Crimson Nations definitely fit that category. There's a few. But I mean, I think that's what it is because clearly, you've made the point about Alabama many times before that they've won a lot before Nick Saban, and they're going to continue to win after Nick Saban, and you just point to history as the indicator. They've just always done that. It's always been important to them. Probably when you're a state like Alabama or Oklahoma, man, when the excellence in things you take a lot of pride in, because it's not easy to compete with big states with big resources like the Californias and the Texases and the Floridas and the New Yorks and whatnot. So when you're great in something, it means a lot, but you got to have a history there of championship level winning, to me, across multiple decades and with multiple coaches.
I think you got to have at least 5 national titles too. That's just my opinion. That's just an opinionated statement, but 5 national titles.
I could run with that number. I mean, that would probably display, unless you just had one great run in one decade, that would probably mean you're doing the things that I'm talking about. I also think, there's only a few teams that have repeated as national championships multiple times as well, and that's also 2 Crimson Nations. I think, in fact, before Saban's repeat national championships that he had in the 2000s, I think Oklahoma and Alabama might have been the only 2 that had 2 back-to-back titles. Bama had one in the 60s and then one in the 70s. Oklahoma had one in the repeat in the 70s and a repeat in the 50s. Yep. To me, that matters. So you got to have, I think
it's got a little bit mixture of both. You got to have a certain amount of titles, and you got to have, consistency, like you're talking about, consistency,
and multiple coaches that win at a championship level as well. It says something about the program. At that point, when you have multiple coaches, it's like if LSU keeps doing what they're doing, man, eventually you're going to have to call them a blue blood too. I don't know that they have the long-term history. I mean, they do have a national championship in the 50s, in 58, with the Chinese Bandits on defense. And so
just modern history, LSU modern history would be considered a blue blood because they got the second most national titles this century.
And won all of them with a different coach. I mean, that's
exactly. If they could ever get a coach that wasn't shady in some aspect, they would probably be right where Alabama's at.
Yeah.
If Nick Saban stayed at LSU, do you think he would have won as many national titles as he did at Alabama?
What's that?
If Nick Saban had stayed at LSU,
100%.
Do you think he would have won multiple 100%. National titles like he did at Alabama?
100%. You gotta give it. Look, LSU's never. It's never a talent issue with LSU. For some reason, the state of Louisiana produces quite a few great athletes, and then once they started winning, they've been recruiting from Texas. I mean, they've had the talent. So he just would have kept, as he started winning multiple national championships, they just would have continued to recruit at a top 5 level the whole time he was there. I mean, do you disagree with that? You don't think so?
I think he would have won 1 or 2 more. I don't know if he would have won 6 or 7 like he did at Alabama. I think he would have probably won 3 or 4.
I don't know, man. I mean, that would assume that he couldn't get
LSU. The job he done at LSU to me was more impressive than Alabama, on the fact that LSU hadn't won a national title since 1958.
Yeah.
When he won a national title, LSU was gone and forgotten as far as national championships go.
Oh, 100%.
And Saban brought them back to national prominence. The Bomb wants to know if USC is a blue blood. And I don't like USC, but yes, I would consider.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I hate that. Believe you me, I can't stand it. But, and I'll tell you this much. You see, once again, now you get into, that's where their history and success with multiple coaches comes into play, because it certainly isn't what they've done lately. They had one good run while Pete was cheating, and outside of that, they hadn't done jack.
Oh, Cheat Pete. He's back, by the way. Cheat Pete is back.
USC is the West Coast version of the Longhorns.
Did you hear that USC hired Cheat Pete back?
Yeah. I love
As a
it.
teacher-
That
as a
means
teacher-
old Tebow. That means old Tebow's got to be looking over his shoulder because to this day, you always hear USC fans fawning over how much they loved Pete Carroll and how great Pete Carroll was and how Pete Carroll was a genius. You know damn good and well if Pete Carroll wanted to come back, he's coming back. So if Tebow doesn't start winning this year,
I like the way they worded it.
surprise.
They said he was going to be teaching an unspecified class. I'm just like, yeah.
No, I
He's
think he's
unspecified.
teaching something like on national championship strategy or I don't know, something like that. It has to do with his football.
Probably got something to do with NIL loopholes and shit because that's what he done with Reggie Bush. Give him a damn house and shit. They can do that now and get away with some of it now. Now you still can't give him a damn house, but you can get away with a lot more now. And I saw an article today where they was asking Lincoln Riley about it, and he said that he absolutely thought it was a great thing to have Pete Carroll around to just bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you better say that shit because if he goes 7-5 this year or 8-4, I think they're gonna get rid of him.
Oh, dude, listen, I can tell, having followed the guy when he was a coach in Norman, I can see it in his – well, first of all, you can see it in his hair because he's lost a lot of it and it's gray. But he's been humbled a little bit, unbelievably. He's still cocky. Don't get me wrong. He is still cocky, and he can still be taken down a couple more notches. But he's been humbled a little bit, and he knows – you know, that he needs to perform on the field. You know, he absolutely needs to do that because if he has a bad year again, it's going to be gloves off. People are going to be coming for his head, you know, and I'm here for it, every bit of it.
1989M says that.
What's up, 1989M?
He says that Auntie Louise. Y'all need to get his name right, by the way. He's not Uncle Lou anymore. His name's Auntie Louise. And he said he asked him how many touchdowns them dogs would lose by in Atlanta in December, and he had no comment. My suggestion was Crimson Tide by 14. We played Georgia this year in the regular season. And
when is that in the season?
It's the 4th game of the year. We get an off week. We play Wisconsin, and then we get an off week, and then we go – and Georgia comes here. It's in Tuscaloosa. So, by the way, everybody talks about how hard Florida's schedule is and in Oklahoma's and Alabama's, but Georgia, someone don't like Georgia too much. Georgia's got to play. They got to play a preseason top 6 teams. They got to play 3 of them on the road. They got to play Alabama, Texas, and Ole Miss on the road, and they start the year with Clemson. So I don't know if Georgia's going to make it to the SEC title game.
Well, maybe not, but seems like they got enough coming back, and their recruiting's been as good as anybody's. I can't imagine they're going to fall off a whole bunch.
That's
maybe I'm wrong.
That's a hell of a murderer's row, though, right?
It is. No, there's no doubt about it. It's definitely hard, and considering they're the darling of the SEC, it's kind of surprising that they stuck it to them like that. But again, I expect them to be pretty damn good this year. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I expect them to be pretty good.
Tatted Sailor says, I saw an OU site today. A Texas fan was really surprised that Baker Mayfield's OU teams didn't have a natty, but we didn't have a defense to compete.
No defense. I mean, that's the thing that's so sickening is that Oklahoma has had some unbelievable offenses, you know, over the years and some unbelievable quarterbacks. I mean, dude, the fact that we had 4 Heisman quarterbacks, unless my math is wrong, 4 Heisman quarterbacks in the last 21 years, and we didn't win a national championship with any of them. It's just sucks.
I have to switch topics, but I just think about Georgia again. Even though they got a lot of stuff coming back, man, that schedule's so tough, man. I don't think the hedge pissers. I just don't see the hedge pissers making it to Atlanta, man. I'm trying to figure out.
But they'll still make it to the playoff. I mean, especially based on their reputation, which I don't necessarily agree with, but you know how that works. They'll get a certain amount of bias just because of how good they've been over the last few years. So, I mean, how many games do they have to lose before they don't make the playoff? I mean, seriously.
I'd say 3.
3?
I'd say if they lost 3 games, they might not make it.
Well, it depends on how many other good 2-loss and 1-loss teams there are.
What do they start the year with a loss to Clemson? What do you think about that?
That'll be bittersweet for me, man, because that helps my Sooners to some degree. You know, it gives them, if nothing else, it shakes Georgia's confidence a little bit. But I just can't stand Clemson. I hate Dabo so much that I really just want them to lose at every opportunity. Nothing used to drive me nuts more than Dabo on the side doing that. Oh, shucks, we're just little old Clemson over here. We're just little, nobody believes in little old Clemson over here. You know, oh, shucks. And he's a.
By the way, is it just a coincidence, or has Clemson not made the playoffs since a certain individual left?
Well, I mean, you know.
So, do you know what I'm talking about?
I've seen several Clemson fans talk about how much they missed the Brent Venables days. I've seen it. I have seen it. And I can tell you the truth.
That's right. Amen.
That's what I'm saying, man.
The last year he was there with Clemson, they went 9-3, but they would probably went 6-6 because a lot of those games one of them ended up like 14-5. I think it was a Georgia Tech game. They won 14-5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, without that defense of Brent Venables, they probably don't win but 6 games that year.
No, dude. I mean, that's the thing, man. You know, you have to give it up. BV was doing their defense was a huge part of why they were winning. And, you know, man, I'm not saying it's all because BV, you know, I'm not saying that Dabo, he's clearly a good coach. I mean, he's got to be. But even if it was just the chemistry that BV together with Dabo brought, you know, the chemistry in the locker room, the division of labor, you know, clearly, I can't remember the name of the offensive coordinator that they lost in the same year, but clearly those guys were a big part of it because, no, they have not been the same since.
Teresa Moses said that Tebow's going to be teaching a course on how to be shady and backstabbing. Killer Breeze is taking over as the athletic director of the Nagasaki Egg Rolls, and he said he's not inclined to give Tebow a shot at the punting coordinator's position.
No, he doesn't. He does not. He would never step through the doors of a storied program like the Nagasaki Egg Rolls. How dare you talk about Tebow in the same breath? And by the way, you know, when we talk about his acronym, Tebow, it's that bitch out west, not the, because the is almost gives some kind of positive relevance to it, like the Ohio State, like the bitch, you know, it's that. He's that little bitch out.
Well, it's according to what follows the word the. If it follows it with the Ohio Stank, it's not really that big.
We give him no credit, JPC. Just roll with me on this. Don't fight me, man. Quit fighting me on everything.
I just don't like having to spill out that, man. You know what? I went to Alabama, man. I can't spell that, man.
You miss arguing with the neckbeard, so now you're taking it out on Killer. It's not cool. I'm telling you, roll with that. It's that bitch out west. Not that you bring it up that much anymore because it's not, you know, he doesn't even deserve the airtime.
Well, I see a lot of the Oklahoma fans even spelled out Tebow like Tim Tebow, and I'm like, do not insult a great American like that. I don't like the Florida Gators, but I must say, of opposing quarterbacks, he's one of my favorite all-time people. I like Tim Tebow.
Well, he stole one of our national championships away from us, that mother.
Yeah, he stole one away from us too.
Yeah.
We got his ass back. We made him cry. We made him cry, man.
Yeah, that was awesome, by the way. I remember that. I remember watching that, and I remember busting his ass when he was crying like a little baby on the sideline, which I'm just going to say it was a little too gay for me.
It was pretty, well, I guess gay. But anyway, the Duck Knight's in the house. He says Dabo trashing his own fans was so low. So I guess you got a lot of Dabo haters
Well,
in here like
and
yourself.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. He wants to sit on the sidelines before when they were winning and everybody was praising him because he was old country Dabo. Oh, shucks, little old Clemson. Nobody believes in us, but we believe in God and we're going to win because God's on our side. You know, that's what he was. And then as soon as he starts getting a little scrutiny, as soon as people question him a little bit, which, by the way, they absolutely deserve to be able to do after some of the losses that he had last year. The minute he starts getting a little bit of scrutiny, he starts attacking the very fans that have been propping him up for the last 6 years, 7 years. So spare me to, Dabo is a saint. I don't buy it.
Yeah, he sort of lost me in a way when he was talking about, and I don't like this NIL shit either. Don't get me wrong. I think it's way out of proportion. Transfer portal. There needs to be better rules in place. They need to make them sign contracts, have a collective bargaining agreement, make them employees, is my opinion. But he, without offering any solutions, just comes out and says, oh, no, I'm not doing a transfer portal. I'm not paying players. That's not right. Man, you're making $11 million, and you think it's not right to pay some of these guys?
Well, first of all, I heard Dabo. You couldn't be more wrong, Jesse, because let me tell you something. I heard Dabo tell me or say in an interview that he is absolutely that NIL plays a big part in their program because that program is made in the name, image, and likeness of God. That's what he said when he was
snap.
So once again, to it because you're getting scrutiny.
That's a shot there, boy. That's a steel chair to the Clemson head.
That's what he said. That was the proof that they were NIL because of the name, image, and again, it's so arrogant, man. It assumes that so God loves Clemson and nobody else. You're saying God is pulling for Clemson over everybody else. I mean, it's so ridiculous.
Now, I believe in God too, but I also believe that.
Well, me too.
God don't care about Clemson football. He don't care about Alabama football. He don't care about Oklahoma football.
I got to be honest with you. I really hope God does not care about football. I'm just saying. I would prefer that my God does not give a damn who's winning unless it's the Nagasaki egg rolls. I want them to win.
That's right. I hear they're predicted to go all the way in the Japanese American Football League.
Well, they're going to start the season off by kicking the Tokyo Tech Crab Puffs ass up and down the football field. Once they get done with Tokyo Tech, they're going to steamroll through the season. I predict them to go undefeated and win a 7th consecutive title.
What about the
Duck Knight, let me tell you something. Have you ever bowled a perfect game in Wii Bowling? Because I'm not even going to mention how I was able to stay up for as long as I did when I did it, but I got obsessed and I finally bowled a perfect game in Nintendo Wii, and I saved it, and my niece and nephew ended up getting my Wii, and they heard all these stories about Uncle G and how great his Wii bowling skills were. And so when I pulled it up, apparently my saving skills sucked because the game didn't save or it didn't make it over a couple of years. Tell me, Duck Knight, how good are your Wii bowling skills?
Wes says, who are you to say we're lucky to be letting the SEC? I said that earlier, that Texas needs to try to earlier. He's talking about something I said earlier. Earlier, I had said that Texas needs to stop worrying about trying to dictate to us what's a penalty and what's not a penalty. They need to be feeling lucky that they're in the SEC. that Oklahoma allowed them to come over with them.
That's what. Did you say something wrong? I mean, that's how I understand it
Wes,
to be.
obviously, it's been sticking with Wes for a while because I said that way back at the beginning of the show.
Well, and I'm surprised I haven't seen any kind of. I would have expected at least a couple of personal insults from Wes based on the Texas rant I went on earlier. He must not. Maybe he was in the bathroom when I was going off.
Yeah, he's probably catching up a little bit. But yeah, Texas to me is lucky to be in the SEC. Everybody's lucky to be in the
Everybody's lucky to be in the SEC.
Alabama's lucky to be in the
I'll
SEC.
tell you who's lucky to be in the SEC is Vanderbilt. Is lucky to be in the SEC.
You're right about that.
Yeah, Teresa, that's the truth. I mean, I was wondering where you've been. I mean, it is always said behind any good man is a great woman. Sweet Caroline has been around, but I think Sweet Caroline's a little too nice to step in and really try to gain control of what's going on between me and the outlaw. Maybe you're the woman to do it.
Yeah. We haven't had a female on the show yet. You can be on the show if you want to.
You can be on the show. He'll send you the link.
I'm not gonna guarantee that, just don't let it get to you if people start grilling you now, because some people tend to tap out and
but I'd like to hear from Wes. I mean, realistically, what do we expect out of Texas this year? Is everybody here in agreement with most people? I mean, man, I've seen most folks expecting Texas to at least make it to the SEC championship game, if not win it outright.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that because we got so many football powers now that we won't take turns beating each other and maybe there's a bunch of teams with 3 losses at the end of the year?
So maybe maybe the better question is, does anybody go undefeated anymore?
I mean, I don't think they'll be close, man. We might have a bunch of teams with 2 losses. Definitely.
Yeah. And by the way, from time to time, I still see Big Ten fans trying to make the argument that the leagues are anywhere close to equal. Go pull up any recruiting website right now and just go look at the top 10 ranking. It's like Ohio State, and then like the next 7 teams in a row are SEC teams. Like the NFL draft and the recruiting rankings every year seem to think that there's a wide gap in talent, at least from top to bottom. Maybe not the top schools. Like nobody's doubting that Oregon's got real talent. Nobody's doubting that Ohio State's got real talent. I never know if Penn State's talent is legit or not. I always fall for Penn State in the beginning of the season, and then they end up losing. And I don't really know what to think about Michigan without Jim Harbaugh. And, I don't know enough about 1989 can probably give us a better idea of what to expect out of Michigan this year.
I like Michigan. I like their helmets. I like their fight song, but I didn't like the stuff that went down with Harbaugh. And I'm hearing Sharon Moore's been implicated in some of that. So they may have a real rough year. The year after the national championship, they may actually just be a one-hit wonder from what I'm hearing. But from what I think, that's what I think anyway. It
could be. By the way, did you happen to catch the clip or the interview of Colin Cowherd and Greg McElroy? And I've seen Colin doing this now with several folks. You see the apology tour that he's on right now for USC and how unfair it is to criticize Lincoln or any coaches that go to new schools because, expectations. And now he's making excuses and talking about they only had two NFL talent, level players on their team. The fact that they went. Yeah, well.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is there's only 2 NFL players on the team? That's somebody that don't know how to evaluate.
You brought the Heisman Trophy winner and you rated Oregon's running back and I think wide receiver. You brought in the best wide receiver in the country. Like, quit acting like they were still Clay Helton's team. They were far from it.
No, man, it was like
they should
a
have won
combination. It was a combination of Oklahoma and a few other college football teams that went to play for USC, because the Pittsburgh wide receiver was really good. The Pittsburgh coach was really mad when they went and basically what you would call, what's it called in NFL, tampering.
Correct.
There's only certain times a year you're supposed to be able to talk to them, and the tampering shit's got to stop.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It's too easy right now. I mean, all you got to do is get somebody from outside to go hit somebody up on Instagram and what, whatnot. It's so easy, Yeah, they got to get a hold of that as well. Go Hornets, Georgia Tech alum. I'm pulling for you too, man. Since Georgia Tech started off giving us such a great win to start the year off, that's a sign this is going to be a great year with a lot of upsets.
Hey, that's another loss right there for Georgia.
Great year.
That's another loss for Georgia that I didn't think about, man. That's Georgia Tech now.
That's right.
Now they're going to end the year with a loss.
That's right.
Fred Bagley says he agrees with Killer. The SEC has a couple of teams that should no longer be there. I know Vanderbilt probably shouldn't, but, in Mississippi State, while they've won off and on, Starkville is a very not so good place to me. Mississippi State, teams like Mississippi State, they were just grandfathered in.
Well, you can make an argument. I mean, what does South Carolina really bring outside of their girls' basketball team? They got a good baseball team every once in a while, but I don't know how much South Carolina lifted up the conference either. But
South Carolina basketball would be something positive if they didn't have a damn race-baiting coach. So,
yeah,
just saying.
I want to see what happens to. I'm curious to see Missouri football this year. Their recruiting slowed down, and from what I understand, their NIL is unraveling.
I'll tell you what, Missouri's another fan base that's probably loving Georgia Tech tonight, because I think Missouri was ranked 11th. Missouri are now moving to the top 10 because Florida State lost.
Yeah.
So old Mizzou will be in the top 10 by the time y'all play them.
Well, that's fine. I'm good with that. That's another one that's funny to me. Even Missouri fans trying to act like there's some kind of different animal now. It's just like, you do realize you're the team that we skull dragged for 80 years. I mean, you're not new. We know exactly who you are, Missouri.
They're like, we're different now. We got SEC branding.
Yeah.
We made the SEC title game twice.
We made the SEC title game in years when Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida were actually down all in the same year. And we made it to the SEC championship game that year. Oh, and then we lost.
What they won't tell you is what happened in that SEC title game.
They lost.
They lost bad. Alabama beat the shit out of them. It was 42-14 or something. And it could have been a lot worse.
Shocking. You're telling me Missouri – wait. You're telling me the storied program of the Missouri Tigers got their asses kicked by the Alabama Crimson Tide under Nick Saban? I don't believe it. I think
it's happened about 3 times in the past 10 years. It's just like –
it happens to them multiple times every year. What are you talking about? That's Missouri.
Hey, man, they beat Ohio State, man. In a bowl game where Ohio State's players just all set out, man. The Ohio State players pulled a Florida State, except they didn't get the shit beat out of them like Florida State did in front of their own home state.
There was a time when the teams, no matter what bowl game they were in, because first of all, there wasn't a 1,000 of them, that they wanted to win. They cared. They all played and they all tried. But let's be honest. That's not the bowl game world we live in now. Outside of the playoff, that win over Ohio State doesn't mean much.
No, but at least Ohio State kept it close. I think it's 14-3. You mean tell me you can only score 14 points on a depleted Ohio State defense? 14 points? Really?
And Thunder
I'll
brings
tell you, Ryan Day, as good as his record is, there's talk of him getting dismissed if he don't beat Michigan this year.
Oh, I think if he loses to Michigan this year, yeah, he could be gone. He could be gone. To lose to Michigan without Jim Harbaugh, I mean, especially when you're coming in as the preseason number one and you had the recruiting year that you had, or a couple of years at that. I mean, they always recruit well. I mean, it's just so funny because I actually remember the years when Michigan dominated Oklahoma, dominated Ohio State, every year. Ohio State would go undefeated until the last game of the year. They'd lose to Michigan, and Michigan would either be playing for, in some kind of great bowl at the end of the year, if not the national championship. So I remember the years when Ohio State wasn't always so good, but certainly over the last 20 years, they've never had a shortage of talent. That's not been their problem.
Tatted Sailor says he wants to go to the A&M and Texas game at Kyle Field. Now, that is going to be the game of the year.
Well, I don't know if it'll be the game of the year. It's going to be pretty damn good. And as much as I can't stand A&M, I will say this. It's a big stadium. It's a loud stadium. And when they all start swaying back and forth and start making out with their ugly girlfriends, it's frustrating. It's annoying.
Or their ugly boyfriend.
Yeah, well, male cheerleaders, man. That's all you need to say.
You got that grab-ass yell crew down there grabbing on each other.
Yeah, male cheerleaders, man. That's all you got to say. That I'm never giving them a break on that. They've had every year in history now at least 100 years to change that goofiness, and they just keep on going with it, trying to pretend like it's not the massive laughing, joke that it is. Male cheerleading? What the hell is that?
If y'all don't mind, jump out of the chat real quick and smash that like button for me. I've been forgetting to ask people to do that, but it helps with the algorithm. It helps push my channel. Smash the like button and jump back in here, and also share it out with your friends. And if you don't mind, you can if you're not a subscriber already, please subscribe to the channel too, because that's free as well. But it can also be in an outlaw posse if you want to, and get your badge like Killer Breeze has got, and the Bomb and Darth Iskines and Fred Bagley, among others, have their badge. They're deputized, as you can see in here. You'll get a random Four Horsemen shout out on the actual podcast, as well as possible be the comment of the day. And it's only $2.99 a month. That's only 75 cents a week, man. That's only half a bottle of what?
That's right. Hey, the Bomb.
Half a bottle of what? What's that?
Half a bottle of water, man.
That's right.
I don't know if 75 cents is getting you a half a bottle these days, though. I got to be honest with you. It might be a little less than that.
Yeah, that Bidenomics gets you, don't it?
By the way, the Bomb. Yes, you're asking me, does OU have male cheerleaders? Yeah, they do. They also have female cheerleaders that are the main focal point. The male cheerleaders are basically just there to hold up the pretty girls with their, flopping around while they're flipping them up in the air. Other than that, the male cheerleaders wouldn't be there. A&M only has male cheerleaders. There's not a girl in a skirt anywhere around.
Yeah, that's the problem, is they got male cheerleaders to an upteenth degree. I mean, that's actually sort of sexist, ain't it? I mean, that they don't allow females to be in the Yale crew.
It's incredibly homosexual.
I mean, well,
come on, man. It's just, I'm joking there, clearly.
Could a transgender woman join the Yale crew?
I mean, it wouldn't be any weirder to me. I'll tell you that. It's extremely weird.
I know a transgender man can, because he's still got his junk. He's still got that Jack in the Box that pops out. But
oh, come on, man. I don't want to talk about his junk.
You do.
I can't.
You rocking back worse than Hitler on meth. Have you ever seen that video?
I'm trying to stop myself from saying something stupid. I'm literally sitting on my hands as a reminder.
This is a little off the subject, man, but I watched a video the other day on YouTube about the 1936 Olympics.
Y'all
can't say that I'm not talking about sports, because I'm intertwining it.
I've seen this.
Damn, Hitler is up there. I mean, dude looks like he's about to come unhinged, man. They said he was on meth. They say he used to give German soldiers meth during the war.
No. That's definitely true. I've heard multiple interviews with people from Germany back in those, or folks that have studied Germany, talking about how the meth that they used to, you could get it in the pharmacies as well. But the stuff that the Nazis were making was like super meth. It wasn't even regular meth. It was super meth. And yes, the video footage of him in the box at the 36 Olympics while he was watching Jesse Owens from the United States run all over his Nazi boys behinds, he was going at it. You could tell his leg was kicking, he was rocking back and forth. He was definitely wired.
He said Germany had regular over-the-counter meth.
Okay, Teresa, now hold on a second. OU definitely has the Roughnecks, but the Roughnecks also have female Roughneck sisters, so they have females. Once again, A&M only has males. It's all male. It's all boys. There's no girls.
I didn't think about that, Teresa. Damn, that's a good point.
Well, you can make that point, but again, if you look at the Roughnecks on the field, there's similarly dressed Roughneck sisters on the field with them. So
do they have female Yale crew members at all? Have they ever had?
No, man. No, they do not. They proudly keep it all male.
I can't believe Teresa called you out on that.
Oh, I think she's just giving me some tough love.
She's just prodding you a little bit.
She's giving me some tough love.
Don't tap out on us, killer.
Unlike the neckbeard, I can actually take what I dish out. I know you're watching, Jonathan.
Yeah, y'all put Neckbeard in hiding, man. He's in his hidey hole. I call him Hidey Hole John. I'm about to come up with a rap song for him, like I did old Linky Boy. Y'all ain't never seen that before. Y'all need to check out my one-hit wonder, the rap song I dedicated to Lincoln Riley versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's right. I've seen it. I've heard it. It's wonderful. but back to the neckbeard. I don't think he realized the storm that he was actually stepping into. But we got to bring him back. We got to bring him back into the fold. Let's make up with the neckbeard. Let's make sure it's.
We already smoothed it out a little bit. We just agreed that we can't run a podcast together.
Clearly,
maybe be a guest on each other's show, but not run it together as a business, because we have huge philosophical differences.
That's right.
Did I say that word right? Did I say philosophical right? Because we got a guy in here who's a grammar Nazi named Steve Lees. He's a grammar Nazi, and he likes to correct everything I pronounce. He's been getting on me about saying Michael Fusasi. I thought I was pronouncing it right, but I didn't know I was pronouncing it wrong.
It's Fasusi. By the way, real quick, Duck Knight, peace out, brother. Go tear up that surf and turf, that Pacific Northwest style surf and turf.
Why? What do you say?
On the rich uncle.
Wagyu beef and lobster tail?
Yeah.
For the
now,
Duck Knight?
Back to Fusasi.
That sounds like you need some Fusasi on that shit.
I've been meaning to tell you, but I just figured, why? Who cares at the end of the day? But yeah, it's Fasusi.
Well, Steve Lees cares because he said he's a lawyer, and he says he don't appreciate me getting on here and acting like I know something about college football.
Well, Steve, I think you should unclench your butthole and chill out a little bit.
He's a lawyer, man. You can't talk to him like that.
Oh yeah, I can.
I told him, I was like, man, you come on here and debate if you're a lawyer, right? Lawyers are supposed to be able to debate. And he said he ain't got time for that, but he's got time to comment. Like, if you got time to comment, it's a lot easier to speak than to type.
100%. 100%.
But I don't call him a lawyer.
No,
I shouldn't call him a lawyer, man. I shouldn't call him that because he's really he's a court secretary.
Stenographer.
Yeah.
Is he one of the guys over there in the corner just? Is that what he's doing?
Well, yeah. He's a lawyer.
You know what? Actually, joke's on me on that because I happen to know that court stenographers make a ton of money.
They really do. I make more than lawyers.
Some of them do. I guarantee you that. Some of them do.
I don't think he's a stenographer. I think he's just like the bailiff or something, man, or the errand boy. He might be the stenographer's water boy.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, man.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
What's up, Steve? Steve was on that. Steve was on that quick.
Oh shit! I had to get him back in here. He's a damn grammar Nazi. Don't make the mistake of believing what the outcast says. I'm actually an investigator.
What kind of investigator? Are you a private investigator? Or are you like a policeman investigator?
I think
exactly.
Like,
how careful do I need to be on this podcast, Steve?
Hey, you know that old school show Magnum PI? Remember that show?
Yeah.
With Tom Selleck in it, and began the movie. Began the show. He's in the beach and he's helping this girl swim, and her big old butt's in his face. That's Steve Lee's. He's Magnum PI. I didn't know you was an investigator, man. My bad. I'll start calling you Magnum PI.
That's fucking funny, man.
Oh shit, he's a criminal investigator. Oh
damn.
He's gonna be making up shit on me like they did. He's gonna take. Was you involved in taking those misdemeanors in New York and turning them into felonies?
I just want to say that everything that I've said on this show is a joke. None
Yes,
of it
a joke, man. We sorry.
None of it is true. It was all a joke. I don't think I did any. I don't think I disclosed anything.
That's not really a jar of cocaine in his refrigerator.
Those days are long gone.
Yeah. Well, now Jonathan could be under investigation because he got on here live doing shrooms.
Well, he was doing those shrooms. Damn hallucinogenic addict. No, I'm just kidding. He's not an addict. But he does like mushrooms.
Travis Hill said you can investigate his nuts. Sound like a Texas A&M thing. You need to investigate them privately. You need to investigate the Yale crew privately for some nefarious sex trafficking.
Yeah, John. I don't have very many. I can't go back to jail, man.
Oh shit! Now you're gonna get it. He done sent the warrant. Did I say warrant right? Did I pronounce warrant right?
You can send it to Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Hey, watch it. Don't we tell him where I live?
Eric says I can't get addicted to shrooms. I can't. I don't like to trip, man. I'm not a tripping guy. I don't like it.
Big Connor's kid said we're changing y'all's tunes.
Changing what tune, man? I love the law.
Yeah, man, I like criminal investigators. I used to watch.
They're some of the coolest people on the planet if you really think about it. I mean, I'm just saying, I enjoy them. I think.
What was that criminal investigation show? The New York show. What was it called? Had the hot ass chick in it. What was her name?
Huh?
CSI New York.
Oh, there's a million of those. Which one?
CSI New York. The original one's got damn iced tea in it.
Never watched it.
Anyway, it had iced tea in it.
I know what you're talking about.
Had some chick in it. She sort of gives off a mammalian type feel about her, but at the same time she's hot. I guess she might be one of them Yale crews.
Wasn't that Law and Order?
She might have been transgendered.
Was it CSI? I thought that was like Law and Order.
Yeah, you're right, man. It is Law and Order. My bad. Law and Order, that's the one. Yeah, Steve Lee's
knows. You see, Steve Lee's knows. He knows. That dude knows.
Steve Lee's with the win. Hey, she's hot. That blonde headed when they killed her off, man. I'm like, what the hell are y'all doing? Y'all killed off the hottest chick on the show, man.
No respect.
They got so many of those shows. That's crazy though, right? They got CSI New York, CSI Miami, Chicago.
Well, which one was the first one that had the redheaded guy? I don't even remember his name now. He had the redheaded guy and Dennis Franz was on it. Or Franz.
I think that's CSI Miami, wasn't it?
Well, no. He was on the original one that was like NYPD Blue or something, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
What was his name, the redheaded cat?
I know
was
you're
that?
talking about.
Somebody in the comments section, help me out. Who was the redheaded guy that was on like the first incarnation of NYPD Blue before he left? And he tried to be a movie star and it didn't work out. He did like one movie that was a flop and then he ended up on CSI Miami. Who is that guy?
I don't know. Can't remember.
I keep thinking David Duchovny, but that's X-Files.
Yeah, that's X-Files. But on that note, I'm thinking time to get up out of here, brother. Anything you
All
want to
right,
leave?
man.
Anything you got? Any parting shots you got for us?
No, just another great win by Georgia Tech. Hopefully that means this season's going to be filled with a lot of high energy, surprising football games that keep you watching till the very end. Let's hope that's the beginning of a great year.
I think it's going to be epic, man. You got so much history to be made. 12-team playoff, new coaching eras beginning, new everything, new
That's
conferences, right. New teams in every conference. Everything's new this year.
And I'm getting real excited about Oklahoma's chances, especially after the recruiting we've done. We got 2 of the top 10 tackles in the class with Fasusi and Foji. I think Oklahoma's in great shape, man. I expect them to do better than people think this year, and I think it's going to be the beginning of them having a great run.
I hope you're right, brother. All right, brother, I'm going to get up out of here.
All right, man. Good win. Go Hornets, Georgia Tech alum. Have fun tonight.
Now we got some donation real quick.
Take it easy.
All right, give us an OU record prediction. Says Ryan Kirk with a $5 donation. Well, Ryan, y'all's schedule probably ain't as hard as Florida's and Georgia's, probably somewhere around the area like Alabama's. So, I mean, you could have one of your better teams this year in Oklahoma and not win as many games as you did last year. So most people are going with 9-3. So I'm thinking, I don't like to just go along with the crowd, but in this case, I probably will have to go along with the crowd and say that I think Oklahoma may finish about 9-3. If they get lucky, maybe 10-2. Catch a break here or there. They catch Alabama at home in Norman, so they could absolutely beat my team, Alabama, and that may put y'all at 10-2. But I say about 9-3 or 10-2. Anybody else? Steve Lee said that y'all gonna go 11-1. 1989 says peace out, posse. Fred Bagley says 10-2. Eric Basham says 11-1. Bet you, boy, bet you. Well, I tell you what, when you address me properly, I'll bet you. You address me as your master of college football, Steve. And you do that shit right now. Because I'm the master. I got you. Appreciate your honesty. Have a good one. You too, Ryan Kirk. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to get out of here. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel when this thing goes up to a podcast. And if you don't mind, you can also, there's a little money dollar sign, a little heart on the actual podcast. If you want to click on that and throw a few dollars in coffee and donate to the show, that'd be highly appreciated as well. You can also join the Outlaw Posse. It's a little join button, a subscribe button. If you're on an Apple phone, you may not be able to join. You might have to go to your laptop or your computer because I don't think it meshes with YouTube. But it's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. You get your badge, you get deputized. You'll get an actual Four Horsemen shout out on the podcast as well as possibly the comment of the day. Well, then I'm out of here. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.